On behalf of Veterans in Politics International, I would like to thank you for coming this evening. Just to give you a brief overview of this process, each panel member is going to have a 30-second introduction, and then you will be given 1 minute to introduce yourself, your title, your initiatives, so on and so forth, why you would like to seek the endorsement from Veterans in Politics International. This is not a debate, not that you have anybody next to you to debate with. And I won't be rude and I won't stop you mid-sentence, but at some point I'm going to give you some sort of signal that time is up. And at the end of the question answer portion, you will be given 1 minute to give a closing statement and where people can find you on social media as well. All right, so to start, my name is Talicia Sandoval. I am currently a student at UNLV and pre-law. I am Michael Broadway's assistant and currently the volunteer and coordinator for Sherelle Mendenhall.
My name is Michael Broadway. I'm a real estate broker, and I think I'll have some good questions for the treasurer.
My name is Karen Sangalazo, resident of Clark County, a software engineer.
Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to introduce yourself and why you're seeking this endorsement.
My name is Kevin Child. I'm a 1975. We moved here from Chicago. Went to Bonanza High School. My parents used to own the A&W root beer stands in town here. I was a kid that barely made it out of high school, dyslexic and ADD, and I got the fortunate. I was elected to the Clark County School District as being a board of trustees. So I knew what kids would go through. And so I could bring my experiences to the table. And I took the Clark County School District from 49th to 38th ranked in the nation, created school choice, which was the magnet schools that we have now, which were 32 of them, 3 of them, which were the top magnet schools in the nation in my district, which would be Clark, Cashman, and I can't think of the other one. I'm going blank now, but anyways, I'll get it. But I enjoy doing stuff like that. I love fixing stuff. I know that for a problem, there's always a solution. So again, I love to be in front of you. I thank Veterans in Politics for putting this on again, because it's very crucial that you have a lot of members and they should hear some of our points. So again, I thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Kevin, please tell us why you've picked the treasurer and any background with accounting and what would I say? How could you improve the current status?
Well, number one, when I was a school board trustee, it was a $2.8 billion budget. The Clark County budget's 1.5. I was never afraid to ask and look behind the curtains, as they would say. And any good person would want to do that because it's not their money, it's our money. And your money matters. And when you're going through budgets and so forth, you got to make sure that everything's working properly and they're not spending money that they shouldn't be spending on. Because the job of a treasurer is making sure that the money's all there, that you collected from the taxes and you're making the investments that you should be making. And it's a team effort. So you have to build a team in that department. Do I see anything wrong with it yet? No. I was the first one in the Clark County School District to ever ask for an audit. They never did it. It was 3 of us and the 4 didn't want an audit. So you have to say, why didn't they want the audit? Because when you turn the pages and you look behind the curtain, there was some stuff wrong. That's my job. Is for you to make sure that you guys know that I'm doing my job and I'm making sure that every dollar is accountable in that treasurer's office.
Thank you.
My question would be, why is it time for a change in the Clark County Treasurer's office?
Well, it's an open seat, and I figured because I did the budget at the Clark County School District, is that I looked at it and I said, this would be a job for me. I'm not shy of asking and asking the help around there, our employees, how can we improve things? Because everything can be improved. Let's face it, nothing's always, 100%, on point. So I'm not afraid to ask, what can we do and how can we do it better? And I'm not afraid to open up the books and actually take a deep dive into it and look at it.
What do you think that you will find when you open up those books and take a deep dive into it?
I wish I could tell you, because you have to look in it. You have to get elected to get in there to look, through the books.
What I meant by that question is any speculation that there is money being allocated to things that it shouldn't be.
Well, you could find out and then you could streamline it, because in any budget, you're going to find some waste. And can we fix it? Absolutely. And I say we, because it's, as a department, it's a team. And we can't operate without a team. I've been doing real estate for 22 years. So I guess you have to know what's going on and where you have to be. And when you're elected to a position, you make sure that position, you're going to know what's going on in that position. And you got to know where it's at too. Because a lot of the candidates that get out, they don't even know the address of the place where they're going to be working, which is 500 Grand Central Parkway.
How do you feel you'll do with, there's multiple taxes. We just had the assessor in here with the business type taxes. The different streams of, I don't remember how many she said, but there was a lot of different revenues coming through the assessor to you, obviously, to collect.
And that's, again, goes back to collections, banking, collections. And so we have to look at how we are collecting the debt for Clark County, what we're going to do, and how can we do it better? Can we be a little bit easier on people, because people go through hard times? So again, we need to look at certain things.
All right. So you say you've been in real estate for 22 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your thought on tax liens as far as unpaid taxes and collecting them and the current system? I'm very diverse in Arizona, and then it's a completely different system than Nevada. But I'd like your take on unpaid taxes and collecting them. Currently in Nevada, they go to essentially kind of a trustee sale.
Correct.
And then there's an overage sometimes where people pay more. And then could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, if you're going to pay more than what it's, I believe the homeowner should get their money back. But my bottom line is I don't want to see anybody lose their house, and how we can work something going on if it's their primary residence. Because as we know, there's many people on fixed income, and with the economy that's going on right now, there's going to be some problems. And I'm ready to hit it when I get in that office. I'm going to find out how we can work better.
How do you plan to hit those problems head on? Because as you stated, inflation and the way that the economy is going right now, that seems like a very daunting task.
Well, as you see right now, as the economy is, you got inflation at about 8.5. I think it's more like 9. The Fed's going to have to raise it up close. Your interest rate to buy a house, it's going to slow housing down. There's a lot of cash in the market right now, and investors are buying right now. So again, as you guys know, there's a housing shortage, and I don't call it affordable housing. I don't think you can call it affordable housing. You have to look at how you can do attainable housing. But again, it goes back to when you got to know the financial system. And I know that Michael, he's good with Bitcoin. That's something that we need to look at also as a county, is to diversify in how we know how to invest in other things to bring money back into the county, so we don't have to raise taxes. I don't believe we should raise taxes.
I'm going to get back to that, but I'm going to let Karen ask a question first.
Okay, so for the past 12 months, how have you been preparing yourself to run for this seat?
Well, number one is that I did run a $2.8 billion budget at the Clark County School District. I knew the questions asked, the bonds, when we were building schools. So I know that what we need to do is make sure that all the financial stuff is running, all the gears are meshing together, and they're working on it. It's all about finances, banking, collections. So I understand a lot of that stuff. So, I mean, you don't want to disrupt too much stuff in there because it's been running all right lately. But again, I'm sure that there's places that we can streamline things. And again, it's going to be a team effort. And it's just not me. It's a lot of us in that office.
All right. So this is an off-the-wall question, as we are very much pioneers, if you will, in crypto. Okay.
I'm not. Just disclosure, I'm not.
Okay.
So just to let you know.
You already pointed me out.
Yeah,
so
yeah, because I know that's what my interest is, to ask you a lot more about cryptocurrency, because it's the next biggest thing.
Okay.
So again, don't, like I said,
all right.
You're the expert, but I'm learning. How's that? I'm willing to learn more.
Yes, sir. I understand. So the off the wall question, and there really is no right answer, but at some point, you're aware of centralized and decentralized as an example, I have my Coinbase account and I have crypto. What's the odds of treasurer taking crypto in lieu of payment?
That's some again that we'd have to go to the experts, and I would find out and sit with not just one, but many to see how we can come up with a plan to accept crypto coins.
Okay.
So we could bring ourselves into the 21st century.
I would agree. And that's
I'm open to a lot of big things. I mean, we have to think bigger.
Is this a decision that's solely yours, or would it have to be a joint decision between you
I'm
and
the elected
constituents?
official, so everything lies on me, and it ends with me, I would say, but again, if we come to a decision as a group in the office that we're going to make the decision, absolutely. And if it fails, guess what? I'm the one that's going to hit the fan. But again, I'm not worried about that as long as we're doing stuff right and legally. As long as you do it legally. So again, you're going to take risks in anything in the financial institutes. And it is right now. We're seeing what's going on in our financial industry. It's really scary right now. People are suffering. But again, it's like I said, I don't want, as your tax collector, I don't want to see anybody lose their home, their shelter over their head. And I think there's places that we can stop that and we can help people out. It's not an end all be all with a lot of this stuff.
Well, and I think a lot of us here and for those at home could appreciate the fact that you're willing to be transparent about certain issues as well. And so I would like to commend you for that.
So what is your main goal? What will be your main goal as treasurer, and what do you need from your county in order to accomplish that goal?
Well, number one is it's teamwork, going in there and finding out, exactly what's going on. Because again, when I go there, I'm new, remember? I'm the new person on the block. Yes, I'm elected. Yes, I'm their boss. But I don't look at myself. We have to work together. I will take input from all of them to see and give them credit. Because it's not going to be just me that gets the credit. It's all of us that are going to get the credit. So again, I'm a team player, and that's my job, is to build a great team in that division and work with others very well.
I want to focus back to where you talked about you don't want people to lose their houses. Excuse me. Two questions. First one is, what about commercial and vacant land? And then secondly, at some point, how do you, if you don't pay your taxes, inevitably, hey, I don't want to pay my property taxes, right?
Nobody does.
But
trust me, taxes
there's also got to come a point where the rubber meets the road. That, hey, we gave you all the options we can. Sorry.
But if it's your second income, or I look at it, it's your main house. If it's other property you have, then guess what? We're going to have to see what we're going to do. We're going to have to do decisions on that. Because if it's your investment, you're not paying for it, guess what? You're going to have to suffer the consequences. But it's stuff that you have, that's your main home. I don't want to see people lose that. But if it's investments that you have, you need to be paying your taxes just like anybody else. And again, we can work with you, but how long? We have to figure out how long before we hurt the county.
So how long does that leniency go? Because regardless of whether it's your primary home or not, or it is an investment, at some point people need to be held accountable for paying their taxes and doing their due diligence as a citizen
Absolutely.
of this state and this country. So at what point is it too far? Like, how much are you willing to work with somebody on that?
Well, the whole thing is, like we said, is if it's your main home, let's work with them. Find out how we can put something in a slush fund to help them out. If it's a senior, or what we're going through, who's going through what. But again, if it's an investment, then we go by the rule book. Then we say, guess what? You're going to have to pay up, or we're going to put a lien on it and we'll sell it. And whatever we get above what we owe, we'll give you your money back. Again, it's got to be done. You don't want to do it, but you got to do it.
Well, that's kind of currently happening, right? It goes to the trustee sale, becomes foreclosure. If it's $100,000 over the, as an example, $100,000 over the what they owe, then that $100,000 is held by the state, and I believe it's for 2 years, and then it's fund or automatically Morris cheat, right? Given
Correct.
To the state.
You're right.
Okay. What's your thoughts on the timeline I do a lot of tax liens in Arizona as they have a different system. So I'm very familiar with their system. Essentially, if you stop paying your taxes right now, it would be about 5 years before you lost your home. What is your idea of what kind of a timeline would you want to allow people to get back on their feet, so to say?
Well, I look at it this way. You work with the county commissioners also. I would have a discussion with the elected officials to find out what's a good timeline. Again, it's a collaborative effort. Again, you know what? But the county has to be paid. That's how you pay the employees. That's how you pay for the streets and the roads and the highways and everything else. Yep. And your special projects. Sometimes we might have to cut those special projects because I think some things have to be done in order to help something else out in that budget. I mean, like I said, that's a 1.5, almost a $1.5 billion budget. And that's what we looked at the Clark County School District when it was a $2.8 billion budget.
Do you think that 5 years is too long of a time to be lenient with somebody?
I'd say 5 years is too long.
So how long is not too long?
I would say about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Move the system up a little bit quicker because that way you can get rid of all that debt on and then move on. Because if you're an investor, you know better. Right. You know better. And you're holding out or make a deal with somebody because you could actually sell the piece of property prior to paying that tax lien. They could put it up for sale.
Well,
before we liened it and put it up for sale.
That and I think the lack of accountability allows people to wiggle room around the system. And so I think that the implementation of somebody doing that instead, that way we don't have people abusing the system, and that way we can help the seniors and we can move forward in that aspect. So
well said.
You for that.
You should be running for this office. You got to have to have compassion. I mean, you got to have compassion. Okay. And when it comes to money. But again, I look at we don't teach our kids how to do financial, literacy in our schools. And that's something that when I was a school board trustee, that was one of my biggest things is that even parents don't know financial. We're one of the worst in the United States, Nevada is. So I think that something maybe along the lines is we made a program for having financial literacy being taught in Clark County, do classes, so.
I would agree with that. And, that's a great idea. I'm going to give you the fast version, obviously, if you want to text me outside of here and want me to explain more.
Can't do anything behind the scenes now.
I'm going to say what it is. And then if anybody has any questions, feel free to go to the state of Arizona and follow their tax liens procedure per county. Essentially, taxes are paid in arrears in Arizona. And like I say, if your taxes were due, this year is 2022. Yep. So if you didn't pay them this year, you would not be in the tax lien sale in February. You would go the following year, 2023. And February 2024, there's an auction with a bid on the interest. The interest can be 16% or it gets bid down. It can go all the way to zero. And then private equities come in, investors, people making money come in and fund these things so the county gets their money. They have a 3-year waiting period from the time they purchase that. It's called a CP, Certificate of Purchase. They have a 3-year waiting period. Okay, and then once the third year hits, they're always in February in Arizona, but once the third year hits, then you send a 30-day notice, and basically you can start the foreclosure proceedings, which takes about 6 months. Yeah. But it gets the county their money, and it also gives the people a little extra time. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, and I see that. But again, I go back to if you're an investor, you know what to do. And if you're having a hard time paying that tax, why don't you put up the place for sale? Because you know what somebody's going to go ahead. Hey.
But this is across the board for everything, commercial, vacant land, and homes.
Well, the homes, remember I said, I want to see how we can carve that out. If it's your main residence, I want to work a deal where people don't have to lose their home, because there's ways you can do that. I mean, let's face it. There's a program out there that you can put money into and make sure that our seniors don't lose their home. Nobody has to lose their home if it's their main residency. But it's something I would look at, off record, you and I can address. But again, it's always when you're getting in that office is talking, you've got to work with the county commissioners, the county clerk, the county assessors, and we have to be on the same page. And that's one of my biggest things is make sure that we're all working together and we're all making moves together because that's what we are as a team. And we need that trust in our taxpayers to say, hey, they're doing the right thing.
I'm going to allow for one last question before I give you your time.
One more. Last one.
Last one.
So what sets you apart from your opponents for this seat?
Number one, I ran the 5th largest school district in America with a $2.8 billion budget. I was one of the ones that stood up and asked for an audit. Was there problems in the Clark County School District? Yep, there was. I had 5 cases I took to the AG. I'm not afraid to step up and step out and make sure that your tax dollars are accounted for. So one of the things I'm not shy about, taking care of business. And again, in doing it in a decorum, a great decorum, doing it classy. So again, nobody in the field that I'm running against ever ran a $2.8 billion budget. So I think that sets me apart. Not that I have to be cocky, but I know how to do this now. I learned a lot. And when I was called as the bankers, they called me at the Clark County School District. And one of my focuses was the budget, making sure you had enough money to make sure that our kids get educated. And we had schools for them to go to and not overcrowded schools like they have right now.
So really quick on the topic of education before I give you your closing statement. I think I offer a unique perspective. I graduated in 2021 and my junior year, they offered me a finance class and I opted to take it. And my teacher looked at me and she said, "Why would you do that?" And I was very confused. But her reasoning was because the finance classes was for kids that only got C's and D's in the classes before that. And that if I got B's and A's, then I should be in college prep and I should not take a finance class. And I opted to take the finance class anyway, in which case I don't think that that's a system that it should be run. And to make to your point that we definitely need to change the system from the bottom up. So anyway, with that being said, sorry, a little detour.
Oh, I love it because you hear perspectives from somebody else. And that's what I tell the kids. I said, always put your Mickey Mouse ears. You might learn something from somebody. Yeah, I have not, like I said, I'm 60 years young. My mind is still open. I think that's why I'm running is because I think that I can bring to the table that open collaborative effort that we're going to do something bigger, greater, better.
Alrighty. Well, I will give you 1 minute to make your final closing statements. You can look into the camera over there.
The camera right there.
And speak to the people at home. List your campaign and your contact information if you would so like to do so.
Well, again, thank you for having me, Veterans in Politics. It's always a pleasure to be here. My name, again, is Kevin Child. I am running for the Clark County Treasurer's Office. I am the only one that's ever ran one of the largest budgets in Nevada with a 2.8. I'm asking for your vote. I think I'm well qualified. I don't think I am. I know I am. But anyways, thank you so much. God bless you. And you can go to my website. It's battlebornchild, the number 4u.com. Go learn about me. Here's my phone number, 702-768-5412. Call me. Let me know what's going on. I need your support. And again, God bless you and have a great night.
Thank you so much.